Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Dental Voice on the Case with Xyrus. My name is Rolando Mia. The purpose of Dental Voice on the Case is to share with you how professionals in our industry deal with issues and problems on a day-to-day basis. Today, we have a very, very special guest. His name is Randall Berry. Randy, he is a CDT, MDT, and I have the pleasure of knowing that we used to work at Denmat together, which is kind of cool. Now, what Randy's going to take us through is to share with us his experience over 30 plus years working with literally thousands of clinicians, if not tens of thousands of cases with them, on what the two biggest time sucks are and the impact of that when you're doing cases. So first of all, welcome, Randy. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Ro. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak today on Dental Voice. What I want to talk about is, as he said, was the disorganization and the distractions in the office that I've seen, even as recent as the last couple of weeks, as we are, especially during the cementation process. And one of the things that I have seen is just recently there was a particular doc that I was in with the sedate units, but I happened to make a single unit. He's like, "Hey, follow me in the office," and I walked in. He was the assistant had already had the crown, the temporary crown off. She had everything ready to go. He walks in, gloves up, sits down. There's wet cotton rolls in the mouth. He takes them out, puts dry ones in. She says, there's a little bit of red. And he takes the crown, loads it up, puts it on, says, clean it up, take an x-ray. And to me, in my mind, as somebody who has seated many cases and assisted seating many cases, that was probably one of the scariest things I've ever seen, first of all, because I think what we need to show you is what good isolation looks like. I think what we need to show you is how it can be easier, how we can save time and have a better predictable result.
Awesome. Let's play this.
So as you see on this video, a lot of you may or may not have ever tried Teflon tape. I personally love Teflon tape, whether I'm doing one unit or whether I'm with the doctor and we're doing 10 anterior veneers. And as you can see, with the retraction, the constant evacuation, protection in the back of the throat, you can see that the doctor is clearly, everything is nice and visible. It's clean. It's optimal. So you know that this is a predictable result. When I'm out with doctors and when I walk in and they have an isolation system like this, I feel so much better about doing big cases with them. And a lot of the word just is probably one of the largest words I ever hear. It's just a single unit. That same single unit, it may be great today, and you might get it in. But if you notice on this video, the contacts are protected. There's absolutely, the field is perfectly dry the way that they want it. He'll take his little his water syringe, blow a little bit of air on there. You notice there's nothing on the mirror. There's no mist, no spray, no contamination. A lot of times, most of the time, almost all of the time, you have an assistant with a large evacuation, or she'll have the saliva ejector in the back of the throat to catch the puddle back there. And the doctor's fighting. Here, the doctor's working basically alone. The assistant is one step ahead of him, able to aid him into putting the correct, the restoration in the correct way. When I see this, I love it. I want to work with this guy because I know for a fact we're not going to have remakes. And this crown may be fine in everybody else's hands. I get asked every single day, every single time I go out, what's the best cementation system? What systems are the best? And that's a loaded question. So I just say whatever's best in your hands, because it doesn't matter. If you can have the best bonding system, but if you don't follow manufacturer's instructions and you don't have this kind of isolation, and your field's contaminated, I don't care what you use, it's not going to work. So this particular doctor, as you can see, has got this thing already in. This video is about 2.5, 3 minutes long. This is how long it took him to seat this crown. All the preparation was done the correct way. When he walked in, isolation was done, patient's ready to go. The magician can now sit down and do his magic, and that's to make beautiful smiles. And anytime we contaminate this field or we even tamper with this field, we're just introducing very bad things that could happen. As you see, he's taking the Teflon tape out. Pretty meticulous here. He actually grabs a pair of hemostats because there's a little strand left, and he'll go ahead and remove this, as you can see. I really, really, really think that this is important. And I know that some people think, oh, it's just a single unit. Why put all of that in there? And again, the word just, I hear it all the time. That crown just broke. And part of that is because it was contaminated and not all of your cement set up. So you had half cementation, half of it didn't set. So now you got the bite changes, things happen, and it breaks in 3 weeks, or it breaks in 4 months, or it breaks in 2 years. Look at these contacts. Contacts are perfect. He gets a good snap through, gets them cleaned out. Notice there's not a lot of, there's no saliva, there's no blood. You notice that there, even the cement that he flaked off, he wasn't worried about assistant trying to reach back there with a saliva ejector and pick it out. It goes to the back, it gets sucked up with this kind of a system. I think Isolite, anybody that I work with that uses them, I love to go to their office and place cases because I know that the results are going to be predictable. And this is just the optimal way of seating a crown, 1 crown, 3 crowns, 8 crowns, or even 20. And if you notice, after everything's all cleaned up, everything's good.
Wow. So in your experience, as you've been going through and working with the clinicians, from a time perspective, what would you say are some of the biggest issues and the biggest time sucks that you've seen? Top one, well, top two?
Yeah, and I think one of the first ones that I want to talk about when I walk into an office, and I'm not talking about the office, the appearance of an office. What I'm talking about is disorganization. I've been in several offices where the assistant had to go grab a different saliva ejector, had to go grab the different evacuator, had to go grab something. She always had to leave the room. The doctor just sat there. These kind of systems allow the doctor to keep working. I think that, so disorganization within the office is huge. I think right now in today's world, our changed world, some states are still closed where the patients have to sit in the parking lot, call in, I'm here. So I think time right now is the most critical thing. And one of the things that when Ro asked me, there was 4 or 5 things he asked me to talk about. And I said, if we can talk about time, the rest of those will follow. And so I think disorganization is probably the largest one I've seen recently. And I think that I see all more consistently than anything. The other one is distraction. One of the large time sucks is distraction. Every single person has some kind of a, they're all talking in their collars. They have some kind of lighting system. They have to do hygiene checks. There's just tons of distraction. When you have things ready to go, when you walk in, as I said, you guys are the magicians. You make it happen. I'm in the lab making it happen behind the scenes. But when I give it to you, it should be as easy for you to put it on as me putting it on a model. And I really think that you should be able to take out your earbuds or take off your collar device, sit down, put these units in, focus on what you're doing, get in, get out. Know that I'm not going to get the call that I get at least once every couple of months. Hey, Randy, you remember you came out here and helped me with those 8 units? Yes, Doc. It went great. Yeah. One of those units changed colors. I wanted to let you guys know porcelain does not change colors. We all fire whatever kind you're using at a certain temperature. It doesn't change. I have showcases for 20 years, still the same colors they were 20 years ago. So what's happening is you have micro leakage. You have the cementation wasn't isolated. You didn't have these kind of perfect fields like you see in this video. You don't have anything like that, and it just makes life so much easier. I know for a fact, one of the other things when I'm out there is I'm looking also for a doctor. It's not because I want to go out with every first case, because obviously I'm not making any money doing that as a lab owner. What I'm also doing is interviewing this process, because is this going to be a long-term problem for me? And again, you might save time by not isolating or not using something like Isolite right now. But what happens next year when this same patient calls and says, hey, this crown, something's going on with this crown, and you take it and there's a crack in it, or it's discoloring. Now there's one appointment. Next appointment, you got to come in, you got to cut everything off. You have to re-impress. You have to send it back to the lab. And then it becomes the finger pointing of where was the bonding? Where did you guys etch this at the lab? Was it contaminated at the lab, or was it contaminated at the office? So to eliminate all of that, I really think that we could eliminate redos, which is probably the very worst nightmare for all of us.
So,
as a lab owner, we cannot do it.
You just mentioned reduce, and I was going to ask. I had a perception in my head, and based on your experience, and you've seen this, like 1 out of 10 restorations fail. Is that the experience that you're seeing because of issues with contamination?
With the kind of cases that I'm doing with the large units, I'm going to say it's probably 3 out of 10 or even 4 out of 10. And it may not be, like I said, within that first couple of months, even the first couple of years. I myself have, 16 veneers, and I flew out to California because I knew that somebody out there isolated. They knew the bonding, and so I flew from the Chicago area to California to have mine put in. Just because, and I granted there was other doctors that I work with. I would have done it for you. No, you wouldn't have. Because I think that that's how important that it is to me as a lab owner, and I think it should be important to all of us.
So you can dramatically reduce the issue of pop-offs or redos by just starting out, no distractions, making sure you're prepared, and then ensuring that your fields are nice and clean.
100%. And I think that that's one of the things that excites me or excited me about doing this talk, because it's really hard. I'm the lab guy. And I'm also out there in the offices every single week, and that's like, again, you don't know how good it makes me feel when I walk in and if the office is organized, they have a good bonding system, they follow all the instructions, they have a good isolation system, and as we all know, today's standard in shades is standard, American standard is toilet bowl white. I still think that the American standard today for isolation is cotton rolls and evacuators. And I think that it's time to change this, especially in the time pinches that we're all in today.
Awesome. Awesome. First of all, Randy, thank you so much for sharing that. I love the fact that you've worked with so many clinicians, and the feedback and the insight that you give us is real. So folks, if you like the content, if you like the information, please share this. If you want to reach out to Randy just to ask some questions, what would be the best way to reach you, Randy?
You can reach me by my cell. You can reach me by email. Which we can display that, or I can hand it out, whichever way you guys want to do that.
Yeah,
you can reach out to Xyrus. They will give you all of my information. Perfect. Reach out to them about this awesome video that you watched. And this wasn't just a video. And when I was going to do this talk, they showed me many videos, and there was one of somebody seating 5 units or 6 units. There was one of 8 units. But I think we've all forgotten the basics. So I really wanted to do with this video because I keep hearing the same word. I know we all do. It's just a single crown. That single crown I think is equally as important as 8, because if you can do a single crown with the best isolation, with the best predictable outcome, then I know for a fact that I'm comfortable doing your lab work for 8 or 10 or 20 units.
Excellent. Well, first of all, thank you. I would be remiss in not mentioning that Randy was with the military. Thank you so much for your service. Yes. He's been in the industry for years. Thank you for your support, and thank you for joining us on Dental Voice on the Case. I appreciate it so much. Look forward to hearing from you again. And hey, everybody, have a great, wonderful day. Please be safe. And if you have anything, let us know. We're happy to bring those to you.
Have a great day.
Take care, guys.